Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. What up, y'all? This is Antonio Moore from Tone Talks. I got the wonderful Ice Cube on here. Shout out to LA. We're gonna have a great discussion today. You know that ADOS has been pushing politics at several points. I'm gonna share screen and bring up images because we want to have an educated conversation. And you know that Ice Cube has been pushing his black contract. You know, I myself have my criticisms of it. ADOS LA, shout out to y'all, have connected this, and we submitted some changes to the reparations section along with some addendums to other parts just this weekend that Cube is reviewing. But today, what I wanted to do was talk about not only what Cube is going through today in context of black politics, but what Cube has helped with over the last few weeks that people might not be aware of. One of the things that ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, sharing the screen just so you guys can get kind of a view. Hold on one second. So sharing this screen, one of the things that I want you guys to get a view of is what ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, have been working on. We've been working on trying to get that check that Martin Luther King demanded so long ago. And in many ways, what I think is starting to happen is that people don't understand that that's our objective. I feel like for a lot of people, what has happened is while we're trying to get a check for ADOS Black Americans that went through slavery and Jim Crow, other people's agenda is something else entirely. I think Ice Cube in our discussion, because I've only talked to him once other than this, seems to be on the same page. Ice Cube, you want to say something to the audience? Hello or something?
What's up, everybody? I appreciate you tuning in. We have, everybody asks me, have I connected with grassroots groups? And, the answer is yes. And we've actually been able to move the needle, in California, and we want to move the needle nationwide. And, I believe our mission is aligned. And so it's good to, have folks in the trenches who have been doing the work every day, and that I can kind of amplify if we whenever need be. So I think this is how it's supposed to go down.
Yeah.
And we made connections. We are implementing the things you sent us into the contract with Black America. So this is what we've been looking to do: meet with people who are experts in these fields and connect the dots, and then from there push politicians and push people who can make it happen, even in the private sector. So this is a match made in heaven, so to speak.
Yeah, and look, my thing always is to listen to the people that are on the ground with us. Me and Yvette started ADOS, and we're gonna run this the right way. But if the chapters want to meet with Cube, I gotta meet with Cube. And the chapters went out and met with Cube and felt out his vibe and really wanted to connect. So I took the meeting, and I feel like we can move this in the right direction. The first step, of course, is this black contract and taking parts of ADOS 101 as far as reparations and implement it inside of this contract, so those people that get eyes on it at least know we coming for our check. So before we get into the actual, hold on one second. Before we get into the actual, before we get into the actual discussion, what I want to do is commend Cube on being part of the whole discussion as far as reparations and everything that we did with AB 3121, because I think what happened was AB 3121 led to an awakening that reparations is the ultimate answer because it repairs so much economically and socially. Part of when I look at this discussion, what people don't see, what people don't unpack, is we're not talking about billions, we're talking about trillions. And we're not talking about a gift, we're talking about a debt. That is a fundamental difference than what is being asked for by any other group. We built America, then we're shut out of America, then built upon by America. And one of the things that I really liked about your plan, despite my criticisms, was the fact that you recognize that truth, the American descendant of slavery part of this thing. Now, of course, there need to be fixes, but one of the things that I do commend you on is what you did in terms of AB 3121. With that, a lot of people don't know in the last few weeks, ADOS here in Los Angeles and in California were able to reach out to you, and you were able to make connections with the governor to push him to, in the direction of probably where he was going already, but push him over the hump to get him to sign that bill. And I just want to say I commend you, regardless of what anybody else thinks, before we get into the discussion about Donald Trump.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank God we connected at the right time, because we was actually running out of time. He actually signed the bill on the last day that he could have signed it. So, that's what making the right connections and being able to work together to make sure that this debt is paid. It's a humongous debt, but it's not insurmountable. It can be done. And, there's a million formulas we can come up with to make sure this debt is done. And so, it's just great to be able to hook up with people who've been pushing in a direction that I want to push.
Yeah, man. And so, look, we got 2,500 people in here. I expect to have about 5,000 to 10,000 in here to have a discussion that they've been waiting to have, because I talk extensively about celebrity. I've done my part in trying to educate celebrity, and I start here at home, from Dr. Dre to Nick Cannon now to you. I try to share information that I get. My name is Antonio Moore, for those people that are just tuning in. Co-founded ADOS, but I'm an attorney here in Los Angeles. I produced the documentary Freeway Crack in the System, along with a few others, about Freeway Rick and the crack epidemic here and the scourge of crack. Also, in a sense, what I've tried to do is meld what I call a decadent veil into a greater discussion of politics and economics in a way that Black America has been lacking. And so I want to get right into what everybody wants to talk about. Let me go ahead and share my screen, because I think I have to. This is what everybody wants to talk about. Ice Cube clarifies the role in helping Trump admin develop the Platinum Plan. That's the Rolling Stone article. Do you see that article, Cube?
Yeah.
All right. So, this is the thing. Ice Cube went out and he had this plan. And he went out to the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrats said, wait till after the election. I'll let them talk about it in a second. And then the Republicans, to me, I'm going to say disingenuously, but we'll talk about that in a second. But the Republicans said, we'll listen to it, and then we'll combine some of that into the Platinum Plan. We'll talk about the Platinum Plan and why I believe they named it the Platinum Plan. But give us your take on everything and how that all went down.
Well, both parties actually contacted me. I didn't go saying, look, I got this. I said, we got this. It's a great plan. And I was still building on it as we are. We're still, making adjustments to this day. So they both contacted me. The Democrats contacted me through a Zoom call with a bunch of surrogates and representatives, and so they basically said, yo, we love the plan, we agree with about 85% of it, and but we really want you to come in after the election, and you'll have a seat at the table, this, that, and the other, which was fine. That's I wish if they believed in 85% of our plan, that they would have made adjustments to theirs. But that didn't happen. So as we sat around, the Republicans got in contact with us and said they saw our plan. They have a plan, and they think that they need to adjust their plan and make their plan better. So they said, do we mind borrowing things from the contract with Black America? And I said, of course not, because anybody who can make this happen, I want to make happen. So from there, uh, they said, do you mind meeting face to face with some of the people on the campaign? Which I didn't mind meeting face to face with people in the Biden campaign. So, I expected this. So that's what we did. And they understood where I was coming from, that both parties had things that were geared towards minorities, geared towards people of color, geared towards diversity, and all the words that they throw in that pot on us. And so I just explained to them that if this is not going directly to Black people, Americans, then it's not really helping. It's actually just perpetuating what's already there. So that they took that out left, and they came out with their plan actually weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much it. I told them directly that nobody's gonna believe you guys unless y'all did some big ass executive orders before the election. Nobody's gonna believe that he's gonna do it. They said that they understood. So that was it.
Yeah, man. And what's a trip about this whole thing, I think, is that people are being disingenuous of the process.
Yeah.
I think on one side you have the Republicans, and I'll get into Trump particularly. I think he's being disingenuous at being at the end of his presidency. But on the more, like, on the forefront of today, there's a lot of people who went and met Trump that are asking you, why'd you meet Trump? There's a lot of people who are not.
I never met Trump.
Well, Trump's administration. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are not recognizing, while there is an election today, that Trump is the president today. There's a lot of people that are not recognizing a lot of facts. Now, what I will say is, as ADOS, we've been down ballot Democrat the whole time. It's my firm belief that small government, right-wing Republicans cannot deliver the robust agenda that we need from our Black agenda on ADOS101.com, been up about 2 years now, and also reparations in the trillions of dollars that we're talking about. It will take a massive movement either to remove the Democrats left or a third party. But right now, where we're at, I think is kind of a miss. I believe there's a misstatement from Trump about what he's trying to do. We'll talk about the Electoral College in a few, but what I believe he's trying to do is fracture the Black vote rather than deliver a Black agenda. I really believe that we need people like you, and I just don't want him to damage your reputation in the process.
Well, my reputation will be all right. I'm a big boy. I knew that this was gonna get ugly at some point, because we're talking about politics and we really get into where the rubber meets the road. The question is, why is that opportunity there? Why hasn't the Democratic Party stepped all the way up to the plate and really took care of not only Black people, but Black men specifically? That's where the crack is. And so I feel like that shouldn't even be there. If we've been loyal to this one party for so long, there's no way in the world anybody should be thinking that we're not going to get what we need from them. But what ends up happening is they basically take our vote for granted, and really, as long as we give it to them, they get it, put it in their back pocket, and actually deliver to other people their needs and their issues get dealt with. And this has been happening to us over and over and over again. So something has to be done. I expect people on the other side who's not my friends to treat me like that, but people that's supposed to be my friends are supposed to look out. They know our situation, and we just get we've been getting the same treatment since the 60s.
Let me say this. One thing. Let me say this. I think that part of our problem right now is that we've allowed the Democrats to treat us like a captured group in a way, while allowing white folks to vote flexible and based on policy. So what do you mean, Tone? Black America voted for Hillary Clinton at a 90% rate, 88%. White America voted for Trump at a 58% rate. White women failed Hillary Clinton at the polls. Now we have 3 Supreme Court justices and a president that drove the country to where it's at, and nobody wants to hold that base accountable. When Obama was nominated, the concession was that you're going to lose some white voters, but black people will turn out en masse, and we did. We delivered. What happened in the last election in 16 cannot be undone in 20. This president might not pick, but in 20, one Supreme Court justice, and if this one gets confirmed, he might not get any. What is the consequence of what happened in 16? And I don't want to hear we just got to move from here. I want to know, how do we hold a base accountable that gave us a president that we got to deal with? Then when we deal with him, we got to own him. We didn't ask for Donald Trump. And I just keep saying that because I think a lot of people forget that without white people, there are no Republicans and there is no Donald Trump. There's just not enough black support. Now, there are 2 other groups that did also support Trump at a much higher rate. See, everybody's talking about black men today, but not talking about Latinos and Asians that voted for Trump at a 30% rate. I need to understand, how long are black men going to hold the bags of a right-wing party that we didn't support? We didn't ask you to put Biden on the ticket nor Kamala. In fact, we told you not to when they were running 4th and 7th coming into South Carolina, but you did it anyway. So now we got to deal with the fact of what you did. As we deal with that, you say, well, you just got to swallow it. This is what I think Ice Cube is in the middle of, a rock in a hard place, and then he's trying to work things out. What I hope we all can do is kind of realize that this is going to be a long game. My view is someone like Newsom is a big time player, where down the road we do the California bill, and maybe he takes that national as he looks national. We'll keep a check on that. My thing is that I don't want today to become just about chastising Cube when we don't say anything to Latinos that have met Trump, or journalists that have met Trump, or anyone else that went up to that presidency, to that president's office, and asked or demanded what they're due from their government. Now, I myself have not met Trump or Trump's administration, have been very critical of people that believe that he would deliver anything. But I wanted to frame that part of it, and I want to kind of just go back to one thing, Q. Let me try to pull this up the right way right here. 1 second. Yeah, man, because I just think that a lot of people have been talking about this discussion. Ice Cube has clarified his role in helping to develop the Trump administration's proposed platinum plan for the black community after a White House advisor thanked the rapper for his willingness to step up and work with President Trump. Leaders gonna lead, haters gonna hate. Thank you for leading, Trump senior advisor Katrina Pearson tweeted at Ice Cube Tuesday. This is the tweet that set off a firestorm. What is interesting to me inside of that tweet is the fact that so many black women looked at Ice Cube through the maleness, but didn't really deal with the fact that it is a black female that is working for Trump that tweeted this. This goes well beyond gender. Let's not genderize an issue that isn't about gender. Now, I also continue on this article. According to the rapper's rep, Ice Cube offered to meet with the Trump and the Biden campaigns in recent weeks to discuss an agenda for black Americans and support for his contract with Black America. So this is hard to digest, and we start to deal with, well, it's got to be that Cube is just a conservative, or it's MAGA support, when it's really about trying to look for black agenda items under rocks, because they should be out front, but they're not. They've been hidden away. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened. I let people know when I did the contract with Black America, that I wasn't playing these political games, that both parties need to look at this as something that needs to be done for the country, just like they look at the debt ceiling or they look at helping the military. This is a situation that's bipartisan. This is not a Democrat problem. This is a Democrat and Republican problem. So, I just think, people going to take the headlines and run with it, but I say, every great man in the world has always spoken to, every great man I've read about has always spoken to who's ever in power. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're going, not as a selfish person going for something for yourself, but you're going to ask for something for your people, show me where that's wrong, and, people might not like Trump. I haven't really liked any president that I've ever seen get down. All of them got flaws. So people think, Biden is the holy grail and he's not going to piss you off and make you mad. And he's not, white 50s guy. You sadly mistaken. So all of them got to be held accountable. We can't sit around and wait till we get so-called friends in the White House and then they don't do us. They don't treat us like friends. We got to press everybody. Everybody get it.
There's another thing here that's very interesting with Trump. And I think everybody's being disingenuous with this whole Trump thing because we got to remember where Trump came from. Donald Trump fall from hip-hop grace, from rap icon to public enemy number one. In this article in ABC News, what they showed is over 300 times that rappers have mentioned Donald Trump in songs. There's pictures with everybody meeting with Trump and befriending Trump.
I've never met Trump, even back in the day. So to this day, I've never met Trump. So back, people used to love him. Then he became the president. And look, like I said, I don't like no president. So at the end of the day, they got to do what's right for me to like any of them. So
listen to this, Q.
I'm
listen
pressing
to this.
all of them. Yes.
But only a few years ago, as recently as 2015, hip hop story relationship with the celebrity business mogul turned president told a very different tale. This is the same article. Trump was an indisputable icon in hip hop music for decades, and admiration for his success and swagger is documented in more than 300 rap verses. I'm not saying that to connect you. I'm saying that to say that there's been much more here than just to. What I don't want to happen is that Trump becomes the scapegoat for a white American population, part of white America, that needs to be held accountable. In a sense, we've made him into Skeletor and Biden into He-Man without dealing with the white base that supports both of them, in particular Trump, but also how Biden's career was built on the incarceration of so many black males. He basically was the champion of the carceral state as we know it. That is the problem we have right now with black men. For those people that don't understand, well then why wouldn't black women have the same problem? There are more black men incarcerated, or just about the same as all women on the entire planet. In America, there are about 200,000 women incarcerated. 40,000 are black women. 40,000, far too many. In America, there's about 600 to 700,000 black males incarcerated from everything from low-level offenses to violent crimes, mostly low-level offenses. It is that issue that Democrats put at the center of their campaign by picking both one, Biden, and two, Kamala, with her career as far as truancy laws and incarceration and black men fighting fires here in California when they're supposed to be free. When they put that at the center, they can't then make Cube the face of the reason they're having issues with black men. You have to own who you chose. What do you think?
Yeah, without a doubt. At the end of the day, they should have been, with their track record, should have been overcompensating, doing more than enough to make sure black men came along and come along in November. So I don't understand the philosophy of, picking these candidates with this track record and them not doing everything in their power to reach out and make sure black men felt comfortable with voting for that ticket. They knew they had problems with that ticket from day one, and the problem is not going to go away because everybody mad at Ice Cube.
Now, Cube, I don't want you to think I'm being rude. I'm saying it a little late. When I look over here, not only am I running the show, but I want you to feel love today. I know you don't need it. I know you Cube from Boys in the Hood, but I'm saying you like on the bottom, it's gonna be ADOS people that want you to feel love today, because it's not just that you are out here. You didn't endorse Donald Trump. It's you trying to push for a black agenda through the mess, through the madness. I watched a little bit of Roland's show, and I felt there were some disingenuous moments. I have no problem with him having his show, but you can't go down there and say you met for journalism as a journalist. You went down there not for a story. You went down there to see what you can get from Trump as the president. If that's different, then I'll call it a spade. But on the other side, you have Alicia Garza, who has set up Black Lives Matter, and it's definitely not about black men. And to me, largely, it has done things that are directly oppositional to your black contract in terms of it's a minority-based agenda that they drive. In addition, even the 30,000 person census, myself, Yvette Carnell, we've done shows on it. Come on, man, you oversampled trans and you oversampled college-educated black women. You can't do that and then justify it because they undersampled in other studies. That makes your study flawed. So at that point, your study doesn't really show anything that we need from the entire population at random, black population at least. So you were brought on there and you were kind of like things were brought to you, but then other things were taken off the table. The main issue that Biden Kamala ticket faces is something we presented, myself, Yvette Carnell. I did it on Dash Radio. Shout out to y'all. Yvette did on her show Breaking Brown. Is when you make that your ticket, which we predicted almost 2 years ago. I believe that's what was the plan to be the ticket at the outset. I believe that they were supposed to run 1 and 2, and that didn't happen, but they still made that ticket. And now comes the consequence, which is a bunch of black men that were disenfranchised as a result of that ticket are not feeling the ticket itself. What your answer has to be as Biden is a black agenda and reparations. We've told you for 2.5 years. That was the other thing that Roland brought up. If you need ADOS, we are here for you, Cube. We have been here for 2.5 years on the ground. The only reason HR 40 is a national discussion is ADOS. You can see it. Wall Street Journal did a chart. They showed the chart, and basically after Obama, it went down to nearly no support for reparations, even after Ta-Nehisi Coates speaks. It wasn't until ADOS activated and you had members videotaping themselves, confronting Clyburn, confronting Fudge in Texas, confronting Congress members, that they started to sign HR 40. And I don't believe it was to get HR 40 as much as more so to deal with this new political pressure. So what we have to do is make a body of politics and a set of people, the set of ADOS people that are demanding you recognize ADOS. Neither campaign has recognized that ADOS are their own unique group. Understand that Mexicans, rightfully so, Japanese, Nigerians, Haitians, they are all their separate group. But somehow we just black at large. And inside of that, we become just minorities. And inside of that, we eat the costs. We go to jail. We have no wealth. I'm here to unpack all that, and hopefully we can do that together. One of the things that I did want to get into a little bit was this platinum plan, because I have my own issues. I did a whole show on it. So don't connect me to the platinum plan, because I believe it's disrespectful. Let me tell you why, Q. Let me tell you why. A lot of people haven't talked about this, but I'm going to bring up something that I feel. I'm not saying that I have the proof to this. What's in Trump's platinum plan for Black America? I believe he called it platinum plan, tying back to the rappers because of platinum chains. I don't think that there's. I think it was basically a shot at black folk. In addition, I don't believe this. Go ahead.
I mean, it was the same thing with lift every voice and sing. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's pandering. But
it's pandering. I just want to point it out though, because he didn't say platinum chain plan. Because I think I just want to point it out because I feel like that this is Donald Trump's little snide shot. And so, to me, I come back to it, and I will say this. I think there is a bit of a difference between naming your plan Lift Every Voice and naming it Platinum Chain Plan. I feel like Biden and Trump represents Go ahead. Go ahead.
Our problem is we trying to lift every voice. It's time to lift the black voice. It's time to lift the descendants of slavery.
Come
It's
on.
time to lift that voice. It's time for us to be a protected race. Okay, like they've done with the Native Americans in some aspects. It's time for that to go down. And so I believe both. My plan is the contract with Black America. So both plans fall short of that. They all fall short of that. I didn't expect none of them to hit it. And so there's years of work to do to get everybody to make sure that we get what we're supposed to get everybody on that page. And to me, the example that I'm trying to set is it don't matter who in the White House. Press everybody. Press everybody. Whoever's in power. That's what you do. If we sit around and just wait for our side to get in there, and then they get in there and they always got an excuse, we'll get to y'all after this. We'll get to y'all after the midterms. We'll get to y'all after the re-election. We'll get to y'all, and they never get to us.
Well, this is the conundrum of that from a political standpoint. Is one, you're dealing with somebody in Trump who's probably one of the sneakiest little businessmen we've had in a long time in the presidency. So I don't know what his word is worth. But number two, you're dealing with Republicans that are small government. We have a track record on Trump. We know for the last 4 years he ain't been about black people. His first 100 days.
We need cash.
Yeah, I understand that.
We don't need government.
No. But see, we don't just need cash. We need policy. Policy includes cash in the sense of
policy is made by Congress. It's made by the president. The people are there to make that. So government don't have to be humongous for policy to come down the pipe. What we have to do is make sure, some of these government agencies are part of the things that shield us from the money. It's a lot of red tape that's out there. If you really look around, and look, like I said, I haven't picked no party, okay? But if you really look around, some of the worst things are happening in Democratic ran cities. And so there's a lot of government, and there's supposed to be people who are there to make our lives better, and our lives continue to either be the same or get worse. So I think both parties have flaws, major flaws when it comes to dealing with our situation. That being said, we still have to deal with who's in power and not who we hope to be in power.
And but see, this is my thing, Cube. We still got to deal with the first 100 days. That's when the president Donald Trump came into office, I believe, with a Republican Senate and Congress, and for his first 100 days, he didn't get nothing to black people. He did a bunch of immigration stuff. He got his Supreme Court nomination confirmed. What he did not do is think about black folk. And so what I'm saying to you is that for him to tell us anything today, I think in context of what we need is people power right now. And I'm gonna pull one thing up just to give that context. This chart here. What we start to understand is that white America today has $100 trillion in wealth. In '89 they had 24. In '80 they only had 11. We always had like between 0 and like 4, 1 and 4. We didn't. But what has happened is as they have taken off under Reagan, under Bush, under Obama, and also under Trump, a new kind of policy has to be taken into account that isn't just about just straight money, meaning what kind of closure do we need? Well, in terms of numbers, there are 83 million white homes and 20 million black. But you take out the black immigrants, you're probably more at like 16 million or 15 million ADOS black homes. Well, to close this gap, ADOS black homes have to go from about probably $2.5 to $3 trillion of wealth, nearly none of it liquid, Cube. Right now, we have nearly none of it liquid. It's all old people and boomers and retirees, to about $17 trillion, with $5 trillion of it being liquid. Part of what I think is happening right now is black folks don't really grasp the gravity of not only white wealth, but where we got to go, because we got to have an endpoint. So right now, white America has 90% of the wealth. We have 2.6. But this is the bigger problem. Just explaining it to new people to the Tone Talks and ADOS world. The bottom half of black America out of that 2.6 has negative wealth. Negative $200 billion to be exact. All of our wealth is in the top 10% of families. And those aren't just like black celebrities. Those are boomers and retirees. That's why we don't have no liquid wealth. It's their house and their pension. So 75% of our little 2.6 is in the top 10% of our families. 90% is in our top 20%. Again, almost all boomers and retirees. I'm bringing that up to say this. When we start understanding the scale of this thing, the gravity of what we need, what we start to understand is we need transformation. And what that transformation does is it reallocates the structure of society. It sees ADOS people, and that's the problem with both campaigns. And a part of it is our own black politics for the last 40 years. ADOS people built America, not because they're African or because they're white, because we were slaves in this country. Just like Caribbeans were slaves in the Caribbean, and they should get their due from the Hague or the International Court. I'm talking about America right now, and I'm talking about closing a $17 trillion gap. I believe that ADOS being recognized and feeling in their own like world that they're due that claim is the first step. And that's what I kind of connected with you on after talking to you. You know, we talking about that vibe where, so now once we have a number, 17 trillion, we start to understand when somebody is gaming us. So Donald Trump says 500 billion and it really ain't for us, but it's not even 500 billion. It's 40 billion with leverage will become that, but it's not to us even. We need a plan that's for us to us, but that requires us to do a politics. What can't happen is what I just saw yesterday, where a bunch of blue checks, many of them elite. I believe everybody from there was a Roxanne Gay who went to an elite private high school. Must be nice to tell black folk in the Midwest and the South that they can wait till after the election and you elite. Everybody from Roxanne Gay to this Professor Crunk woman who tried to make it about, I think she tried to make it about black men or something like that. Didn't make no sense again, because I'm looking at Cube and I'm looking at the people that's talking, and they not just talking about black men. She said some stuff about how these brothers defending Cube missed that Trump is da-da-da-da-da. Look, this woman here is the woman who tweeted it. She's a black woman. This is not just about gender. Stop genderizing things that's not about gender. I also saw a tweet from a Jamil Hill who had you on her show that said if the Trump administration is serious about addressing black issues, why didn't they ever meet with any black experts? You had Cube on your show to elevate him. You can't elevate somebody, then ask the question why Trump went to the person you elevated. Did Jamil Hill reach out to you?
Since when?
Since yesterday, before tweeting it.
No.
You don't do that. You don't do it like that. That's just me. You don't have somebody on the show to elevate him and make him a speaker for the community. Then when Trump talked to him, be like, well, why you don't talk to experts? You didn't have me on your show. And I'm saying to you, the reason you had him on there is for at some level you connected to his plan. I'm just saying to you, everybody got to get honest. From the people that went down there and met with his administration to the people that saw your plan at first and believed maybe you're going in the right direction, and can't just like throw away, cast it away whenever it's easy because there was a blue check meeting on Twitter or whatever happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. You know, people. I knew people was going to be opinionated. You know, most people got them, and most of the time they stink. So I knew that was going to happen. Now, the thing is you can't believe either one of them. I mean, but you got to push them to at least say what they're going to do. I think there's a lot of work to do. I think we do need to work to become a protected race in this country, and to make sure that our affairs are handled before any other demographics. Because we did build this country. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were made specifically for black people, not for everybody else. Everybody else is using it. You know, matter of fact, I think one of the colleges, either Yale or Harvard, were sued by Asian Americans and white, because they had too many black students. So these kind of things are starting to backfire on us as Black people. We're starting to be overlooked because the I guess people want to be called Latina X. Um, you know, they're outnumbering us as we speak, and I think the Democratic Party really focuses on making sure that they capture that vote because they feel like they're going to get our vote automatically. I just think this is dangerous. The thing to do to me is for us to come out of these parties and to be independent voters and push each one to do what we need to do, and they'll get our support, our full support. And we need to push our program and not worry about what's going on all over the country. I mean, the country got its own issues. People like, we're gonna lose. You're gonna lose our democracy. We ain't got no democracy. Black people ain't got no damn democracy.
I also think we got to hold
we
white
got
people.
it. We got a dictatorship. Yeah, and so it's just not one dictator; it's millions of them. Public Enemy released an album called "It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back," and it's true. And it has taken nations of millions to hold us back. So we have to do something different to break through that.
When I read this plan, I want to read a little section. For the Black communities, the Platinum Plan commits to unlocking $500 billion in access to capital. Again, that's not just for Blacks, and it's actually 40, and then it's leveraged into that, creating 3 million new jobs. Again, not just for Black people, and bridging historic disparities in healthcare and education, school choice, criminal justice reform, and favorable trade deals for Black farmers. I just ask where all this has been during his last 4 years. And the guy pretty much doesn't hold to a lot of commitments. So his word comes with a grain of salt to me. That the other thing I think we run into, Cube, honestly, is a lot of people don't know how poor Black people are. ADOS people. In LA, the middle Black family is worth $200 liquid. Boston, they're worth $8 liquid. In Miami, they're worth $11 liquid. What you start to see is that Democrats' policies, particularly down ballot, are particularly necessary for Black folks. See, wealth allows you to have the kind of wiggle room to not need government. But tell that to somebody that can't eat today. And somebody would say, well, there's a lot of white people that can't eat today. Not in proportion or percentage. That is the consequence of slavery and Jim Crow and being locked out of wealth. It makes you a captured group when it comes time to vote. And I just think that the danger of it is not to be honest about how many Republicans would care less if Black folks starve out.
Well, here's the thing. I'm from that group. People don't forget. I haven't forgot where I come from. So I'm from that same group. I understand the challenges. I'm not telling anybody to support anybody. People mad at me because the president saw something good in my plan and put it in his plan. But the Platinum Plan is his plan. And my plan is the Contract with Black America that's 10 times broader than both of their plans. So the thing is this. We can try to get this in one fell swoop. We can chip away. We can alienate people, or we can try to let people know from both sides of the aisle that this is an issue that needs to be done. Now, we're just talking about the presidential candidate. Down ticket, everybody got things that they got to vote for. There's propositions, there's DAs, there's all kind of different state issues to vote on, Congress people, senators. So there's plenty to vote on. This is just what happened. I haven't told anybody to go vote for anybody. I just put out a plan. I was contacted by both parties, and here's what happened.
No, I feel you, bro. When I'm looking at this thing, I think one of the things that I just want to slow everybody down with, because we got everybody, I think, thought that they got a political lesson with Obama. We just voted for a celebrity in a way. We didn't vote for policy. This election, we talking about policy, and I believe ADOS is at the tip of that, because nobody was talking about reparations before us, and that's the only thing that closes the racial wealth gap. And what I kind of want to make sure that I have everybody understand today You know, just this week, shout out to my UCLA alumni because it was set up by them. But just this week, I presented on the Electoral College to all of the Discovery Channel. But I wanted to bring that to YouTube and also to my audience. And this is a great chance to explain why I think what Trump is doing might be a little more problematic than you might see. See, Trump has a whole kind of way of winning the candidacy that wasn't really about winning the nation. So he lost the popular vote by 3 million. We know that. But then he won the presidency because only 48 of the states are winner take all. But what happened is in Michigan and Wisconsin, here in Pennsylvania, he took the whole pie in these states by simply less than 1%. So he won Michigan by 0.2, he won Pennsylvania by 0.7, he won Wisconsin by 0.8. Part of what I want you to see that in context of what is called the racial dot map. So the racial dot map shows America by color. So essentially, white people are blue, black people are green, Asians are red, Hispanics are orange. Black people are concentrated through the South and in the Midwest. Our most populated state by percentage is Mississippi, and we're only 40% there. Essentially, what Trump has done is created a white voting bloc that could get him into presidency almost on their own. He flips over some Asians and some Latinos. What my fear is that instead of him being genuinely interested in your platform, him trying to break up the black vote and never really intended to institute the policy. And I just think that is the danger. And I'm not saying that you might not see that, but I just want to make it clear for the audience.
Well, I mean, I think both politicians can do that. I mean, the thing is the Democrats can do a lot of things to shore up their vote. And all they got to do is reach out in a way that satisfies the people that are on the fence. You know, at the end of the day, what you're showing is that this dude can end up being the president again. And if, you know, he's a dude that's been a politician 4 years. So nobody really know what the hell he gonna do. You know, this other guy been in there for a long time. So we really hoping he'd do the right thing. But he's just sat back and watched a black president not really do much for what so-called his own community. And so what will really give him the incentive to do more than Obama did? That's scary. You know, people got to understand that that's real. That could actually happen. So, you know, I think we are between a rock and a hard place. I think we are at a point where, you know, we don't really know where the relief is going to come from. But at the end of the day, no matter who's the president, we can't stop. We got to keep pushing our program. You know, I'm not here pushing the plan for anybody. And if I would have did something for Biden, they would have used me too. So I'm still willing to work with anybody to make sure that this works. You know, I'm done playing this American politic bullshit because it's not getting us anywhere or getting us crumbs or inches. You see that graphic you put up, we are flatline. Yeah. We are flatline. We cannot continue to do the same things. We will not survive another 100 years with no money. It's over if we don't do something different. So I'm willing to do whatever different that's out there that shake this shit up.
Let me show. I'm coming to the end, Q, but I want to show something else because everybody seems to not understand. We talked about the Platinum Plan and what is missing, but to lift every voice, the Biden plan for Black America is basically a class-based like plan. I'm gonna read a couple points to you, but to me, none of it recognizes ADOS. You might as well think that American descendants of slavery as their own like separate group inside of America that built America on slavery and then followed with Jim Crow. A lot of people don't understand, but before 1960, the amount of Black immigrants was to the right of the decimal, meaning nearly invisible. In 1920, there were 11 million ADOS, and they were around 6th generation American, and there were only like 40 to 50,000 Black immigrants, almost all Caribbean, living in like New York. This whole narrative of like of ADOS not being the centerpiece and the story of blackness in this country, not globally, in this country has gotten confused, and it's not in this policy. It's not in Trump's either. So black ADOS people better get on their horse. But reading some of this policy, advance the economic mobility of African Americans and close the racial wealth gap. Well, you can't do that without reparations. But what he does say instead is invest in African American businesses. Then he starts talking about small business investment. That's just for anyone. And increase funding for the Minority Business Development Agency budget. Protect small and disadvantaged businesses from federal and state contract bundling, often locking out African Americans. Provide African American entrepreneurs and other small business owners technical assistance. Reserve half of all the new PPP funds for small businesses with 50 employees or less. I just showed you that black folks don't have the wealth to bottom half has nothing. Only wealth we have is in the boomer class. Our issue is not you making sure that white businesses with 50 employees get PPP money. Why is that here? Understand, produce a weekly dashboard to show which small businesses are accessing loans. Expand African American home ownership, and by that he's saying give them $15,000 tax credit. That don't help us. We're wealthless. We need reparations. We need a black agenda. We need an entire recognition of the consequence of being black in America. This Lift Every Voice plan is a failure. And one of the things that I'm starting to see is that we have a black population, blue checks on Twitter included, that don't understand politics. Everyone said we didn't ask Obama for nothing. The way you ask a politician is when they're running, not after they get into office. I don't understand what kind of strategy this is, where he gonna take care of you when he gets into office in a way that it clearly doesn't show in his first 100 days. It doesn't show in his platform, but that's not politics. This is the moment to demand. Yesterday was the moment to demand. Before South Carolina, when only ADOS was demanding reparations, was the moment to demand. It is not to demand in February. You're too late. So I read that. What do you think about that Lift Every Voice black agenda?
Well, I thought it was light. Like I said, I think both plans can do better. I mean, they have to do better in the long run. It has to snowball into, like I said, we have to be recognized and then taken care of. And both plans, it's a lot of minority this and, double talk, triple talk. At the end of the day, we're not going to get that money unless they direct it to Black Americans, specifically ADOS.
Shout out to ADOS. Look, Cube, I'm coming to the end, but one of the things that got me about this whole thing, let me say this. The Latinos is meeting with Trump left and right. Ain't nobody saying nothing. Asians meeting with Trump. Ain't nobody saying nothing. How do you, I got an article, right here where it shows the Latinos meeting with Trump. And it feels like ain't nobody said not a thing. Say Latinos for Trump rally and ready for Phoenix roundtable. She here with her daughters, Latinos for Trump. You got Biden on the other hand. Biden camp taps Republican Trump foe Ana Navarro to rev up Latino voters. She's a Republican Latina, and she gonna run part of his fundraisers. None of this makes any sense, but nobody holds any of these other groups accountable. How do you feel about that?
Well, people gonna cherry pick. They're gonna get mad about things that they don't understand. And that's just the society we live in. I don't mind taking arrows if I know on the side of truth, I'm trying to do the right thing. I don't, like I said, I don't believe, what politicians say. I only believe what they do. And I'm willing to meet with anybody that want to, enhance their plan from the contract with Black America, so they can hear from my mouth on why these things need to be done. So I don't understand, how is that breaking the law, or that's, so-called, unacceptable. But at the end of the day, we meeting with people all the time that don't agree with us politically. You know, some work for people that don't agree with them politically. You know, so and some people are damn near married to people that don't agree with them politically. At the end of the day, it all has to be discussed, argued, worked out, and you know, who knows? Who knows who's gonna be president? But at the end of the day, they all got to fulfill this debt, and we got to go at everybody. And um, that's what I said I was gonna do, and that's what I did.
Yeah, man. Let me say this as we start to close out. I appreciate you taking a willingness to adjust your plan. Hopefully, our reparation section beefs that up, and you get that in front of the right people because we coming to get our check, as Martin Luther King said so many years ago. One of the things that I hope is that there doesn't become this dangerous narrative around gender when this is about blackness and particularly lineage, ADOSness. In addition,
Yes.
I think we have to recognize that there's an extreme wealth calcification at the top of Black America. As I showed you earlier, the top 10% of Black America has 75% of Black America's small wealth. And there's a few Black celebrities that hit huge numbers. In America, out of 20 million Black families, only 350,000 break a million too. Out of 83 million white homes, almost 15%, I'm sorry, 13%, almost 15 million white homes break a million too, with a million breaking 10 million. The reason I'm bringing that up is to say you gotta at least commend Cube for being in a position where he has wealth, but he's still speaking because there's so many Black folks that have gotten their money through all kind of means, wrong and right, that aren't saying anything and know that it's wrong. Right now, Black America can't survive as it is. The middle Black family can't live on a few dollars and still be a family. The hope is that we can create strategy. Our particular position as ADOS, as down ballot Democrat, it was really in the hope to get the Democrats to believe and represent a Black agenda. Part of what happened is COVID-19 really changed the trajectory. In addition, I don't agree with what happened before South Carolina with the chicanery that led to Bernie Sanders losing South Carolina with so many candidates dropping out. And
Yeah, I think Clyburn owe us an explanation on why did he do what he did. I mean, like, what did he get? What
well,
happened?
he in the Biden plan with his 10-20-30, which again is class-based policy. I think right now what we need to do is grow our mission, grow our population base, and first and foremost become aware of our ADOS lineage and be proud of it. So many Black folks sit up and say, I don't want to see another slave movie. Why do you keep bringing up slavery? Well, you tell that to the numbers because the numbers show when you look at Los Angeles as an example of color of wealth, I shared it with you before, Cube, the middle ADOS Black family is worth a mere $200 liquid, a few $1,000s hard. The middle Nigerian family is worth almost $160,000, 60,000 liquid. The Middle East Asian Indian family, just as brown as us, is worth more than white folks. White folks are worth 350 hard in the middle and 170 liquid. The Middle East Asian Indian family, like Kamala, Brahmin Indian, is worth almost $470,000. It's not about being brown and it's not about being from Africa. It is about the consequence of being bottom casted. Our goal, myself, I take Cube to have this as well, is to break that casting and put ADOS people where they belong at the top. Any last thing you want to say to the audience?
You don't stick with me. You know, you've been around, and down with me for 30 years or more, and I ain't never let you down. Just stick with me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get to the truth. I'm gonna find out what's going on, and I'm gonna let you know what's happening, and then we can come up with a plan from there. But just allow me to do my thing, and because we gotta shake these trees, we cannot keep playing the game like it's been being played. We gotta do things outside the box, outside the norm, and outside our comfort zone to get what we're supposed to get. You know, being nice, showing all 32 teeth ain't gonna get shit.
Please go to tonetalks.org to subscribe or donate. Share this video. Cube, looking forward to seeing the next rendition of the Black Contract. Thank you.